How often do we buy products and after the first little while, they just don't turn out to be quite exactly what you thought they were going to be? So I've recommended a bunch of different products to you guys over the length of this channel, and I'm going to show you guys which products I still like and give you additional feedback on them. If you're interested in any of the products that you do see, I will leave a link to them down in the description. Now, in no particular order, first off is the Pit Boss. I've had this thing for a number of years. I've raved about it. It's one of the channel's most popular videos. It's still going strong. However, the burn pot on it has finally failed. There's a couple of holes that are starting to enlarge. So I'm going to have to replace that burn pot to continue using that thing next year. It's still working, but it's just not as good as what it was factory fresh or even at the start of this season. I think it lasted for about 10 years without any repairs, maintenance, other than cleaning whatsoever. Right beside it, you can see the strawberry tower. Now this thing, I would consider it a success, but it took me some fandangling with the watering schedule to get this thing to go. I ended up watering every 4 hours, and that seemed to make it really happy. Also, the variety of strawberry plants that worked the best were the Seascape. Those produced. All the other varieties I tried were pretty much useless. So if you're going to be doing the strawberry tower, stick with the Seascape. 4 hours apart for the drip irrigation, and then I watered for about 30 minutes. That seemed to work really good. Add a half nutrient solution of Master Blends tomato formula, whatever's recommended there. Now, I also showed you guys how to set up a garden and deck irrigation at the start of this season. That was a resounding success. I mean, you can look at my deck plants here. They turned out really well, and not only that, it was just super easy to water. Click the button, plants get watered, done deal. But the only thing that I would change is I would put 2 gallon per hour drippers on the ones that are leaking into the baskets to make that a little faster. But the rest was all good. Ended up getting a bunch of garden produce. And a lot of it's already used up and canned into salsa, spaghetti sauce, that kind of thing. But there's a couple of onions left over. So what about the meat grinder? Now that was another one of the things that I initially put as one of the first videos on this channel. It's still going strong. It is just in my closet, tucked away in storage until I need it for the next time. But it's still working completely flawlessly. Still love it. Now, one of the products that I really liked initially was the Wok camera system. Didn't require a subscription, that kind of thing. And you could have cameras wherever you want throughout the house. So I'm a little torn with the Wok. The outdoor cameras have turned out to be really successful, good battery life, really like them. However, the doorbell style camera, they've had some issues. The one that I initially had in the front door, it stopped charging off of the doorbell 2 wires that I connected it up to. So I had to swap the front one with the one in the back. That got it to work, or that kind of has it working, or it is working, but the fact that it quit charging kind of sucks. So now I have to pull it off and I just charge it with a USB. The other thing that ended up happening with the doorbell style cameras is the clips I found were just too brittle, too fragile. When it got cold in the winter, if I popped them off to recharge, I broke the one when it was brutally cold, and the other one snapped off when I was just putting it back in after charging it through the USB. No complaints about the battery life. That was great. But the mounts that they go into, clearly there's something wrong there, and there's something wrong with the charge if you're going to be wiring these things in. So as of this moment right now, I'd say the doorbell cameras might be looking at something else, but the outdoor cameras are really good with the Wok setup. Now, another thing I ended up doing at some point in time, for whatever reason, I just got curious. I built a Milwaukee battery pack. This thing is still going, and it still works great. I've been using it every chance that I get for using the blower to clean off the driveway or using the weed eater. No complaints. Use it for my other power tools. It's good. It doesn't have the same battery life as the original Milwaukee. That's the kind of the comparable to it, but it's pretty dang close and it's cheap to make. So I left a video on that channel. Link to that is down below. On the same note, I ended up building a different lithium Titanate battery, and I'll see if I can prop this camera up here. That's also still going. In fact, I ended up making a case for it on my 3D printer, and the plug on there, so it's just kind of nicer. tucked away. The BMS is on the top. Parts that I bought from Battery Hookup, still a great place to go. That company's awesome. Plus you get a 5% discount if you use the code HouseDadLife down in the description as well. The furnace backup system that I ended up putting in a long time ago, still working, going strong with the exception of the batteries. The lead acid batteries, they're done. They've done their time frame. So everything else still works fine, but I'll end up replacing the lead acid with like a lithium polymer battery, and I think that's going to be a much better solution going forward. If I were to do it all over again, I'd get a inverter charger all-in-one with a lithium polymer battery, and I think that would be the way to go, or a lithium titanate battery. They're just way more robust than lead acid. Old technology, has its place. I don't think it's for battery backups. The TV you see in the background, the Sony, left a review of that on the channel. That's still awesome, no complaints. The amplifiers, is a review that's relatively new on the channel as well. The Outlaw 2220s, flawless. Those things have been kicking butt. Not on this channel, but on a different channel. I've made the ZAF Audio 12.4, 12.3, don't remember what the model number is. But those speakers are just game-changing awesome. I'm so glad I built those things. The 3D printer, no complaints there. After I've got that ender kind of set up and tweaked, it's now become kind of like a tool. Anytime I need to print something out, just chuck the file in there and away she goes. And it's still just sitting on my desk for when I use it, and when not, it just kind of sits there on my other desk. Another thing on that desk is the LiitoKala charger for all my portable batteries. No complaints. Works great. It's pretty brain dead to use, which is awesome. Chuck the batteries in there, charges them up, use them again. If you're looking for a home hub, the Homey Pro and the Hubitat C8, I've been using both. I've gotten no complaints with both. I would say if you're starting from scratch, probably go with the Homey Pro. It's just way easier to set up automations and stuff like that. Now, the only downside to this thing really is the compatibility. So if you're starting new, just go with those. As far as switches goes, I highly recommend the Sangold, Sangled, whatever switches. I've had no failures on any of them, running for years. Now, as far as the hydroponics in the grow room, as you can see, it's still going. There's a couple of really sad strawberry plants that I pulled from outside after I turned off the watering system there that I'm trying to recover. Hopefully I can do that and get some strawberries in the house for the winter. The rest of the hydroponic stuff has been working great. Nutrients, Master Blend, still the way to go. Loving that stuff. And I know people constantly ask about whatever supplements and stuff to use. This is still my first tin of Great White. Still love it. Still use it. And the way that I make that stretch as far as I do is just using a paintbrush and dip and then dust it on the roots. That goes as far as you want it to. But yeah, still using the Dutch bucket setup. Still love that. No complaints with that. No complaints with the hydroponic nutrients. It's just, I mean, you can see it's working. All the peppers that we used for canning actually came out of that grow right there for the season. As far as the lights go, those are the Spider Farmer SF1000, I do believe is the model number. Yeah, awesome lights. Highly recommend. As far as home energy monitors, still been using Sense. I've got no complaints there. I guess one thing they could maybe do better is kind of just get the devices to identify faster. But other than that, no complaints. It's reliable and it does what it's supposed to. If you're looking for sharp knives, the Ken Onion Work Sharp, still have it, still use it, still love it. No complaints at all. In fact, I keep getting better at sharpening knives using it. The Meter barbecue temperature monitor, or I guess you could use it inside your oven as well. Anyway, still using that, still using the block, still loving that product. No complaints there either. Now for home thermostat, I am still using the ecobee, and the only thing I've done differently since I initially set it up is it runs through the Homey Pro now, but as you can see, I try to do this in reverse. It's still on the wall, and I'm still using it. I think it needs to have something controlling it. If you just rely on whatever's built into the ecobee, Not sure you're going to be 100% happy, but if you're using a smart hub like Homey Pro for the automations, then this thing is pretty awesome. While we're in the vicinity, remember the loose bed sheets problem we were having? Anyway, as you can see, those straps still doing the trick. I think that wraps it up. I think that's the whole list. If I missed something that you're curious about, ask me and I'll give you the update. I just kind of figured some of the stuff changes from the time that we initially put out a video, or maybe don't get as long of a chance to kind of review something as we'd like to. Anyway, there's the updates on anything I can think of off the top of my head and kind of just browsing through my channel quickly. Hopefully it was helpful.